Hello, I'm Volodymyr Ryzhkovskyi. I'm a historian, and here at VICO I'm going to work on my new project which explores the discourses of internationalism and cosmopolitanism in 20th century Ukrainian intellectual tradition, and more generally the pursuit of universalism in 20th century Ukraine. In a sense, this project is a continuation on my previous work, though they're not related in a straightforward way. While being originally from Ukraine, I have not been trained as an expert in Ukraine, but as a historian of intellectual and cultural Russian and Soviet history. My Ukrainian background, though, I think contributed significantly in the way I approach this history, and eventually it led me to reconceptualize the history of Moscow-based intellectuals and artists as part and parcel of the imperial history. So specifically I argued that the Soviet polity as an imperial formation rely on a specific device for producing and generating imperial difference and hierarchies, which was grounded in a very, very paradoxical dialectic between state-sponsored promotion of democratized enlightenment and state-policed and very restrictive regime of secrecy or knowledge and flows of information. Such a regime eventually led to the creation of very, very specific overconcentration of institutions and infrastructures responsible for generating content and knowledge about the world in the imperial center, and as such laid the ground for the production of new dependencies between empire, center of the empire, and imperial peripheries. So in a sense, I'm trying now to bring the insights that I gained from that first project eventually to the imperial periphery, namely to Soviet Ukraine, and provocatively to focus on the theme of internationalism and universalism as it was developed there. Eventually asking the question how this relation between imperial center and imperial periphery played out in this local context. To do so, I will focus on the history of the literary and educational journal, Vsesvit, which means universe in Ukrainian, and led by prominent Ukrainian intellectual and cultural figures. This journal emerged and re-emerged in various incarnations and at multiple junctures of 20th century as a leading platform for discovering, conceptualizing, and presenting the world in the Ukrainian language to Ukrainian audiences. And so I single out three incarnations of this journal in 20th century history related to three eras of Ukrainian cultural history. So 1920s, social and national modernization, 1960s, national revival associated with the generation of thaw шестидесятники, and finally post-Soviet quest for developing fully fledged culture in independent Ukraine. So I think that these three incarnations of Journal Vsesvit eventually will help to shed a new light on the imperial and national formations in Ukraine in 20th century, reflecting at the same time incredible diversity of the intellectual tradition produced through this engagement. And I think at the present moment, when national conceptualizations and forceful affirmation of national identity in Ukraine in the face of the Russian genocidal intentions, The history of Vsesvit may help us to really appreciate the diversity of Ukraine and its history, and at the same time provides a focus for rethinking and problematizing the question of what is universalism, what is future, and what is the world.